Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys a 10-team PPR mock draft from the 4th overall slot, as requested by one of my subscribers, Mike Freeman, so big shout out to you. Now, if you guys would like to request your mock draft, please leave it down below in the comments. I'll try to get to every single one of them. In this draft, we got a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wideouts, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots for our roster, and I'm going to be talking about every single pick like this was my real fantasy football draft. I'm going to be talking about all of my picks as well as all the other picks in case you are listening on a podcast so you can understand how it's going. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. It's free, and I'm going to be bringing you guys content every single day until the goddamn NFL season ends. So let's get right into it. 10-team PPR mock draft from the 4th overall selection on Fantasy Pros. So we're going to be drafting up against some robots, but that is a-okay because it's drafting against expert ECR, so pretty much we're drafting up against fantasy football expert ranking. So the first pick of the draft is actually Saquon Barkley over Christian McCaffrey. So it's Saquon, then CMC, then Michael Thomas. Now, if I'm being honest with you, you have to be high to pick Saquon Barkley over CMC. I just think CMC is just the safety net of a pick. You're at number 1, you get a guy that's going to get you 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. I don't know how you can miss out on that on a team that's pretty identical to last season. So right here, it's pretty easy for me. I'm going to be selecting Ezekiel Elliott here. Michael Thomas is a fine pick here at 4 if he was still available, but I personally like to build that running back core, so I'm going to go ahead and draft Ezekiel Elliott, who would be the guy that I would be personally looking to draft here. There's really no one been taken, so we're going to go ahead and select the best running back available and get my boy Ezekiel Elliott. So the draft wizard here on the website now, it kind of shows this, which is kind of annoying if I'm being honest with you, what's happening. So I can go back and recap it. After we took Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook came off the board, followed by Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, Devontae Adams, Leonard Fournette, Kenyon Drake, Tyreek Hill, Nick Chubb. There was a lot of dumb picks. A lot of dumb picks. All right? How in the actual fuck are you drafting Miles Sanders, Leonard Fournette, above guys like Josh Jacobs, above guys like Austin Eckler? I just don't get that. Julio is the wide receiver too, kind of makes sense. He's a very, very, very safe pick. DeAndre Hopkins over Devontae Adams to me makes very, very little sense. Leonard Fournette, I kind of worry about due to the fact that the team doesn't seem too bought in on the guy. And then when we're talking about Miles Sanders, I'm just kind of worried because it seems like they're going to bring in a running back to be the complementary back because Mr. Doug Peterson loves that running back by committee. Now, right now, we are at our 2nd pick of the draft. We already have Mr. Ezekiel Elliott on the roster. So we're going to go ahead and snag another running back here and get the best running back still available in Austin Eckler. Now, the other debate would be Austin Eckler and Josh Jacobs. I really like both of these players. I think every single day for me, it's going to be a coin flip. One day I'll draft Eckler. The next day I'll draft Josh Jacobs. But since I drafted Eckler last time, I'm going to actually draft Josh Jacobs here. What you got to do is, as Nick Arcolado would say, you got to diversify the goddamn revenue. If you're drafting in multiple leagues, you pick different type of players in different leagues. I mean, if you're playing in 3 leagues, you might want to draft kind of similarly. But if you're drafting like 10 leagues, go ahead and get different guys at each pick. That's why I would understand drafting Saquon at 1 if you were number 1 in 3 leagues and you already drafted CMC in every single one. So we're going to go with Josh Jacobs. The pros for Josh Jacobs is this guy's a goddamn beast. This guy tore it up last season. He's a very good rusher. He runs the ball on the goddamn ground. He's not one of those guys that gets a lot of receiving work, but I think his receiving work will end up going up in this season, and that's why I love him here late in the 2nd round. So I'm going to go with Mr. Joshua Jacobs here, a very easy pick for me. So if we look at our roster so far after we select Josh Jacobs, our roster is looking quite good. We have Ezekiel Elliott and Josh Jacobs, so we can either keep going into the running back well or go with the tight end or a wide receiver, because even though that our roster is just Ezekiel Elliott and Josh Jacobs, you can still easily draft a 3rd running back without filling out the 2 wide receiver spots, the tight end or the quarterback spot. Now, I advise in a 10-team league, I think tight end's actually more important than if you're talking in a 12 or 14-team league, but I'm not going to let that sway my opinion, and we're going to look at who's available right here at each and every single pick. So wide receiver guys like Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster, Amari Cooper still available at running back, Chris Carson, Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell, Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to high drafted players. Shout out to the commenter that wanted me to do that. So there's still a decent amount of running backs that I think if one falls to me, if Le'Veon Bell falls to me, I'll be very happy. So I'm going to go ahead and draft the wide receiver position. So right here, it's between Allen Robinson and Kenny Golladay for me. Now, I like both of these guys a lot. Allen Robinson definitely has some more upside now, given the fact that his quarterback is not Mitchell Mitchell Trubisky anymore. It's actually big dick Nick Foles. And then on the other hand, we have Kenny Golladay, who showed a great season with Stafford, and then the other half of the season was with garbage-ass David Blau. Personally, I am on the lean of drafting Kenny Golladay over Allen Robinson. I won't argue not drafting Allen Robinson there because I think he's very talented, and I think the Chicago Bears will play much better than they played last season. And if their defense is not very good again, come on. That bodes very well for Mr. Allen Robinson, even though I think it bounces back. So here we are going to go ahead and select Mr. Kenny Golladay. So right now our roster is looking pretty fire. We have Zeke, we have Josh Jacobs, and we have the man we just drafted, Kenny Golladay. So looking back at the draft board real quick, you can see that after we went with Kenny Golladay, Allen Robinson got taken, followed by Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Pat Mahomes, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Lamar Jackson, Zach Ertz, Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Darren Waller. So real quick to recap, after we went with Josh Jacobs, Eckler, Gurley, CH, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans were also picked. I think I forgot to recap that. Todd Gurley, terrible pick. Terrible pick. Don't take Todd Gurley that high because I think he actually will play pretty good, but he's going to end up getting hurt. He has that arthritis knee, so I'm worried about that. CEH, obviously the first rookie running back to come off the board in the second round. Pretty typical for Mr. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Gets drafted 32 in the draft to the Kansas City Chiefs, so it seems like he's going to be getting some early work early in the season, get that pass-catching work because we saw how good he was at LSU. Now, looking here at the board as a whole, we still have our two running backs and our one wide receiver, so we can go either position here, but I think the value is too strong right here at running back, even though I kind of want to go Mark Andrews because I think in 10-team leagues, the tight end position is that much better, and I think Mark Andrews is by far and away better than everyone who's been drafted, aside from George Kittle and Travis Kelce. But at the end of the day, I love the running back value here with Chris Carson. I think Chris Carson is going to have a wonderful season this year. Last year, he played very, very well, considering he had fumbleitis. He fumbled 7 total times, I believe, or only 4 times, my bad, because the other couple of times were recovered by his team. So he had 278 touches, 1,000 plus rushing yards, and 9 touchdowns. 9 touchdowns, 2 seasons back-to-back, over 1,000 yards. So I think he's a very safe pick in a very heavy run offense. I think Chris Godwin is not getting the love that I think he deserves because now Rashad Penny's not going to fucking play at the beginning of the season. The guy's on the PUP, physically unable to participate. It's like me in the bedroom. I have erectile dysfunction. I can't participate in the bedroom. That's a joke, a funny joke at that. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But Chris Carson, at the end of the day, is going to get a lot of touches in this offense. So I like to get a guy in a run-heavy offense in the 4th round, a guy that I think has potential to be a top 12 running back in fantasy football. So after with Chris Carson, Adam Thielen came out the board, followed by Keenan Allen, JT, Jonathan Taylor, Robert Woods, AJ Green, Keyshawn Vaughn. Now, this guy who drafted AJ Green should actually be murdered because you should not fucking draft AJ Green in the 5th round. You shouldn't draft AJ Green in the 8th round. You shouldn't draft him in the 10th round. You don't know why? Because this motherfucker gets hurt lacing his cleats before the game. He gets hurt doing anything. He'll get hurt making pancakes in the morning and burn his hand, and his hand will be gone forever. That's how bad this guy is at getting hurt. He's just not lucky at all. And then last year, he's definitely fine. He has to have been fine 6 games in. He said, fuck it, I'm not playing. So what makes you think they really believe in him and want him to be a wide receiver there? I don't know. I think he may end up getting traded, but I definitely don't trust AJ Green, a guy who hasn't even played half his games in the last 4 seasons combined. So right now, looking at the board, we currently have our team of Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, Kenny Golladay, and Chris Carson. Pretty solid here. Pretty great roster we got going so far. So looking at the wide receiver position, guys like A.J. Brown, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Parker, Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, Stephon Diggs. So right here, to me, the tight end is still available, so we have to take it. Mark Andrews' value in this round is unreal. We are currently in the 5th round. Mark Andrews last season finished amazing at the tight end position last year. Look, 64 receptions, 98 targets, 852 yards, and 10 fucking touchdowns. You know what they did in the offseason? They shipped off his competition in Hayden Hurst to the Atlanta Falcons. This guy's going to be seeing even more opportunity this season when compared to last season, so I think it's a certified bop. You have to click on Mark Andrews. He's an insta-lock here in the 5th round for me. I would even have taken him way earlier than this, if I'm being honest with you, if I hadn't have taken him last video. So I kind of just wanted to pivot away from the tight end, but the value here is extreme, as they would say, extreme sports like Tony Hawk. So after we went with Mark Andrews, Cortland Sutton came off the board, followed by A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell, Stephon Diggs, Austin Hooper, Devontae Parker, DJ Chark, baby Chark, Tyler Lockett, David Johnson, T. T.Y. Hilton. So now looking at the wide receiver position, there's still tons of guys that I actually think have a lot of value here. Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Jarvis Landry, Julian Edelman, Tyler Boyd. Out of those guys, I love McLaurin, I love Metcalf, and I love Tyler Boyd. Right here, I already have very, very safe picks at all positions to me, so I'm going to go with a higher upside player. I think DK Metcalf is the safer option here, but I'm going to go with scary Terry McLaurin. Last season, Terry McLaurin, 58 receptions on 93 targets in 14 games, 7 total touchdowns and 900 yards. This guy was a beast. Dwayne Haskins completely forgot how to throw the ball to him, even though they went to college together, which makes very little sense. Terry McLaurin had a great rookie year. I think his second year, his sophomore season in the NFL is excellent, just like with the guy we drafted earlier in Josh Jacobs. So Terry McLaurin should be an insta-lock here in the 6th round, I believe we are in. So if you guys have enjoyed this video thus far, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. So looking at our team through 7 rounds, we have every position filled out except for quarterback, defense, and kicker, because you got to wait till the end to do that. So we got Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, Kenny Golladay, Terry McLaurin, Mark Andrews, and Chris Carson. So we're still going to continue to wait on the quarterback positions. A bunch of quarterbacks just got taken after we went with Terry McLaurin. Kyler Murray came off the board, followed by Dak Prescott, Tyler Higbee, Russell Wilson, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry. So we're going to go ahead and attack the running back position. We only have 3, and we want to have a few that I think are going to be startable every single week. So we're going to go ahead and kind of reach down a little bit and make sure that we get our guy in Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, karate kick Kareem Hunt, ki-yaw, or whatever they say when they make a kick, you know. He's a black belt in kicking. Kareem Hunt, 8 games last season because he was suspended for the other 8, 43 attempts, 179 rushing yards. That's not great. His rushing stats aren't why you fucking draft the guy. 37 receptions, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. He gets on a team where they bring in the most run-heavy offensive coordinator in the league, in Kevin Stefanski, to be their goddamn head coach. They're going to be running the rock a lot, so Kareem Hunt's going to get more rushing opportunity. He's also going to be getting a lot of pass opportunity out of the backfield because we all know Baker Mayfield's going to be shitting himself behind that line and just have to dump it off to Mr. Kareem Hunt. So I love Kareem Hunt's value here. He's a very, very, very safe pick. I think that Kareem Hunt has flex value all season long, and if one of our guys ends up getting hurt, I wouldn't be too pissed starting him as my running back too, especially in a lot of situations where he is going to be very, very, very happy in some matchups. So after we go with Kareem Hunt, Deshaun Watson came off the board, followed by Josh Allen, Matty Ice, DK Metcalf, Julian Edelman, Aaron Rodgers, Devin Singletary, Christian Kirk, David Montgomery, James Conner, Mark Ingram, and DeAndre Swift. Another pick I actually really liked here was David Montgomery. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season after his rookie year. That wasn't even that bad in reality. It's just he's going to bounce back because our perception of David Montgomery was potential top 10 running back, and in reality, he just slapped you right in the face. Matt Nagy said, "Fuck you, motherfucker. I don't like you," and made him not run the ball enough. But who knows? This season, it should be better. Mark Ingram getting picked as well. I like his value, but I'm a bit worried now that J.K. Dobbins got selected to that team. So looking at our team so far in the draft through, I believe we are 9 rounds in now. We are in the 9th round right now. The 8th round right now. I lied. I'm very, very sorry about that. Our roster is Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, Kenny Golladay, Terry McLaurin, Mark Andrews, Chris Carson, and Mr. Kareem Hunt. So looking at the cheat sheet right here, we can still see there's a bunch of quarterbacks available. Guys I like later. The guys we're going to be targeting, guys like Danny Dimes, Matt Stafford, guys like even Drew Brees if he falls, Tom Brady if he falls, I really like a lot. At the wide receiver position, there's still tons of value, so I'm going to go ahead and draft another running back here, and then we're going to get a bunch of wide receiver value in the next couple of rounds, and it's very simple to me. We draft Cam Akers. Rookie coming out of FSU, played on a team with a horrible offensive line. He was the best offensive lineman, and he's a goddamn running back on FSU. Now he's going to the league with the team line is kind of mediocre, but I think that Cam Akers tears it up in the NFL. So I'm going to go with Cam Akers here. I think that he easily beats out Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, and we drafted him late. We're drafting him as our 5th, or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, our 5th running back. So he's going to be riding the pine, and someone may want to trade for him. That's great. If they don't want to trade for him, it's fine, because Cam Akers is just that talented that we can throw him in our flex in great opportunities. So after we went with Cam Akers, Deebo Samuel got selected, followed by, let's see real quick, after we went with Cam Akers, it was Debo, Will Fuller, CeeDee Lamb, Jamison Crowder, Jerry Jeudy, Marvin Jones. So a huge run at the wide receiver position, something I wasn't expecting. I kind of almost wish I drafted a wide receiver before that, but that's okay because we're going to look at the wide receivers still available on the board right now. Guys like Michael Gallup, Marquise Brown, John Brown, Brandon Cooks, Sterling Shepard, Emmanuel Sanders, Darius Slayton. Something great about drafting, where we are drafting in the middle-ish of the round, is you're always in the middle the whole time when you're at 4, 5, or 6. I like that, but I prefer to be drafting towards the end of the draft, but that's just me. I like that turn. But right here, the value is unreal on one player. Now, I'm falling down on this player, and it's Michael Gallup. They add in CeeDee Lamb, so that kind of worries me. But at the end of the day, Michael Gallup was tearing it up last season. Over 100 targets, over 1,000 yards. 6 touchdowns. He tore it up. I see no reason why he can't still do that. There's a lot of vacated targets on the team from the guys that have left, like Randall Cobb, Mr. Jason Witten. So I think Michael Gallup can still do it. He's my wide receiver 3. Dallas should be slinging the ball a lot, so I like that pick later, but I don't like it as much now that they have CeeDee Lamb on the team, because before he was the wide receiver 2, now he might be the wide receiver 3, but he's probably the wide receiver 2 for the first couple of weeks of the season, especially with this virtual program online that they're going to be doing, the virtual off season. So after with Michael Gallup, Henry Ruggs came at the board, followed by Raheem Mostert, Hollywood Brown, J.K. Dobbins, John Brown, Brandon Cooks, Darius Geis, James Washington, not James Washington, James White, Justin Jefferson, Matt Breida, Sterling Shepard, Philip Lindsay. I hate Darius Geis. Hate's a strong word. I fucking hate the guy. This guy will never make it in the NFL. He made it to the NFL, but he won't make it any further than that because this guy loves that blue injury tent. He's like AJ Green. He just loves getting goddamn hurt, and I feel sorry for the guy because the talent is immense. I'm not taking that risk late. That's why I hammer the running backs early, because these wide receivers you find late can easily hit, whereas finding a running back late that hits is very, very slim chances. That's why you got to subscribe to get those sleepers. So, looking still on the board right now at the wide receiver position, guys like Emmanuel Sanders, Darius Slayton, Mike Williams, Anthony Miller, Deante Johnson, Robbie Anderson, Alshon Jeffrey, Golden Tate, Preston Williams. So there are some guys I really like still here on the board, and I think I'm going to go ahead and select one of those guys right now, and that is Deante Johnson. Deante Johnson will likely be the wide receiver 2 on the team. All right? At the beginning of the year, it was with Big Ben. He didn't really do anything. Once Big Ben left, because he got hurt, and then it was Duck Hodges, and then it was Mr. Get Smacked in the Head by Myles Garrett. Then he kind of played okay, but he got more out there. I think that was his rookie season. So this season, I think he emerges as the wide receiver 2 on the team with Big Ben. I love that value in Deante Johnson, a team that the Steelers, I think, could easily be a playoff team. They go from being shit to being great, because when Big Ben's healthy, that guy absolutely tears it up. It is just kind of worrying seeing how much he gets hurt as of recently. So Deante Johnson is who we went with. After that was Tariq Cohen, Ronald Jones, Damian Williams, Darius Slayton, Kerryon Johnson, Evan Ingram. So we are 11 rounds in. So right here is typically where I would kind of look to get my quarterback, unless there's a lot of value still left on the board, and there are still some teams without a quarterback, so we can go ahead and wait and grab yet another wide receiver here in the draft. And another wide receiver I actually like pretty late is Mr. Where is he at right here? It is Mr. Preston Williams. Preston Williams, to me, has immense talent. His rookie season, he got hurt 8 games in, 32 receptions, 60 targets, 3 touchdowns. Now, he's the number 2 on the team. But what happens when Tua comes a couple weeks into the season, and then maybe Preston Williams becomes the number 1, kind of like what happened with Corey Davis being the number 1, and then AJ Brown became the 1 in Tennessee once the quarterback switch happened. So I think Preston Williams has that opportunity, and he showed that he could play well with Ryan Fitzmagic. He's definitely a great flex option, and as my wide receiver 4, I don't hate that value late on Mr. Preston Williams. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, please, yet again, just please click that subscribe button down below. So after we went with Mr. Preston Williams, Anthony Miller came at the board, followed by Sony Michel, Mike Williams, Darrell Henderson, Emmanuel Sanders, Alshon Jeffrey, Hunter Henry, Jared Cook, Brian Edwards, Drew Brees, Danny Dimes, Carson Wentz. So teams are starting to take their second quarterback. So now's when you got to hammer in your quarterback and get your guy. And my guy right here, it's very easy. It's TB12, Tom Brady. This situation in Tampa is outstanding. If you are a fan of Tom Brady, you know he's done it with shitty wide receivers and been a top quarterback option. Now he's doing it with amazing wide receivers in a system that's going to let him throw the ball. How can he not do great? Come on, it's fucking simple math, simple arithmetic. You draft TB12 late in your draft. I think he's going to actually get drafted way higher than he just did, strictly based on the fact that people just love Tom Brady's name. So after we went Tom Brady, Nyheim Hines got selected, followed by Tom Brady's new teammate, Robert Gronkowski, Mike Gesicki, Latavius Murray, Jordan Howard, Zach Moss. Now, I hate drafting Gronk. Why are you going to draft Gronk when this guy hasn't played a healthy season since like 2012? I don't get it. He'll probably play 8 games. Sure. 8 potential games as a top 10 tight end. That's great. But I don't think he's that guy anymore, so I'm just staying away from him. So with our last pick, before we go with defensive kicker, got to get another running back. And looking at the board for running backs, there's not going to be very many here, but this is a 10-team league, so it's a bit deeper. We're going to go ahead and stick our stamp in Boston Scott, because as of right now, they don't have a backup running back. If Miles Sanders goes down, Boston Scott's going to fucking eat. He showed talent last season. I think he could be the guy if Sanders went down. So I love Boston Scott. He's the only other talented running back on this roster aside from Miles Sanders, because right now, as I'm recording this, they still have not gotten another running back, but I think they do. Deante Freeman, some other guy like that. Maybe Marshawn Lynch takes his Skittles and goes to Philadelphia. So after we drafted Boston Scott, Duke Johnson came at the board, followed by Golden Tate, Marlon Mack, Antonio Gibson, Tevin Coleman, Alexander Madison, then a bunch of defenses. So now we get to the fun part. How do you draft a defense, Nick? It's easy. Go on Google, type in NFL schedule week 1. You find a defense playing a shitty offense week 1, and then week 2, you cut them and add a new defense if they're playing up against a hard offense. So when to draft the Rams here, I don't know if that was the right move, but we will figure it out, and I will make a video about it probably closer to the draft. But I'm going to be doing more research into the defenses as we get closer into more prime months of the summer, where we're really going hard in fantasy football, even though we go hard right now. One video every single goddamn day. And then for our kicker, we're going to go with the third leg, Greg Zuerlein on the Dallas Cowboys. So now real quick, we're going to recap our goddamn beautiful roster. We got a B, which doesn't matter. Don't care about your draft grade, because at the end of the day, it's made by some fucking robots. Who gives a fuck what they think? It's all about what you think and all about what your team provides for you in the real fantasy football season. So our roster, to give it a recap real quick: Tom Brady's our quarterback. Our 2 running backs are Zeke and Josh Jacobs. Our wide receivers are Kenny Galladay and Scary Terry McLaurin. Our tight end is Mark Andrews. Our flex is Chris Carson. Our kicker defense don't really matter. Our bench is comprised of Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt, Michael Gallup, Deante Johnson, Preston Williams, and Boston Scott. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying, please click that subscribe button down below or on your screen right now. Check out the video above me, or the video to the left or the top left. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day. I love each and every single one of you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with yet another banger of a video. Goodbye.